Right, hello everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube video. This video is to discuss the most recent poem which I've released, which is called The Silence. And I'm going to get straight into this one because I've been very excited to release this poem and discuss the ideas behind it, and the concepts behind it, and also some of the meaning behind it as well. So The Silence was only written within the last couple of weeks. I can't remember exactly when. I first got the idea in my head to write The Silence when, since I've started this journey, I've had a few messages to say that, oh, you're very confident. But I've never really felt like a confident individual. And that's what spurred the idea. It embedded the idea in my mind. And once the idea is there, then eventually it will come to fruition, especially with poetry. And how it came to fruition is so since I've started this journey, a lot of people have reached out to me, and they've shared their dreams, their visions, they've shared talents, ideas that they've not shared with anybody else, but they've been comfortable enough to share them with me. And one of my friends, he shared something with me that he has never shared with anybody in his life, because maybe it puts him in a place of vulnerability, but he shared it with me, and it inspired me to say that, uh, to say to my friend that you've got this talent, and I hope that whether you do get it out into the world or not, I hope you continue to pursue it for your own good, more than anything, for your own good, because it's your way to express yourself. And after this exchange of messages, it led to some inspirational emotions and feelings within me, and then the ideas that were embedded in my mind to construct the poem, uh, about confidence, it just they came to fruition. And then the poem again completely composed itself. Honestly, composed itself. I had When it comes to poetry, there's very few poems that I've written where I actually have to think, where I'm logically thinking using my rational mind. Usually, my poems are composed completely in a completely illogical way, where there is no thinking involved, and it is simply the words are just coming to me. So the words came to me. The poem I was supposed to write about confidence, but it ended up being about the silence, which I will go on to discuss. And that's the beauty of poetry. It can bring a multitude of ideas together for them to form a poem, and for the concepts to blend into one. So yeah, I think it's a very beautifully composed poem, and it gets the message across very well of me not being confident, but also how I am using my vulnerabilities as my strengths. I have turned it into a strength. Now, there's a few ideas I've got to discuss with this poem. So first is confidence. So I would say I've never really been a confident individual. In my younger days, I'll share a story with you. So in my younger days, I must have been around 12 or 13, and as a kid, I think as an early teenager, I did have some type of confidence, but I don't know where it was driven from. It was just maybe just the natural enthusiasm that we have for for life when we are that young. And I remember this one parents' evening. So I was 12 or 13, and parents' evening, for those who are not familiar with that idea, it's when you're in school and there is an evening where your parents will come in, and the teachers from all your different classes will discuss your progress and how you're getting on. And I remember this one teacher. He said, I think it was my big brother who came with me to this parents' evening, and he said he thinks he's Jack the Lad. And the teacher just began to go off on one about me, and I was completely shell shocked. I remember I was completely shell shocked, and that memory has always stuck with me for the last 17, 18 years, because I was completely bamboozled by it. Because as a child, as a kid, I had no idea that I was maybe in my mind, I was not indulging in any egotistical behaviors. I was just being myself. But this teacher said, yeah, he thinks he's Jack the Lad. And Jack the Lad is for those who are not familiar with that. It's when somebody thinks that they've got everything, they've got a bit of arrogance, they've got some arrogance about them, they've got a bit of cockiness about them. And I didn't feel like that was me, but yeah, and that completely knocked my confidence. I will be honest, that's a memory that has always stuck with me for the last 17, 18 years. And it's really funny how these little moments, sometimes in life, these very small moments, they can stick with us. And I don't think I've ever really said it openly as well, but I'm happy to get it out in the open. But yeah, so the point I'm making is I've not really been a confident individual, but I would also like to mention a side point, which is the fact that the teacher in question, I feel like that is a abuse of his position of authority and responsibility. That is absolutely no way to deal with a child, to speak to a child, to speak to anybody who is in their formative years, because of the effect that it had on me. It knocked my confidence. Maybe I think since that moment, I didn't think about it too much, but it has always been there. That moment has always been there to say that, yeah, that small moment just completely knocked my confidence. But yeah, it is what it is. That was a long time ago, and it was just something that I wanted to express, just to make the point that I've never really felt like a confident individual, like confident within myself. But I feel like I am learning to, because I am learning to just be myself. Just have I am learning to instill confidence within myself, and that is because I am comfortable enough within myself to express my qualities to the world. So yeah, that's uh that's the first thing I wanted to discuss. And then the silence. So the silence, this poem, I find it I find it very beautiful. You'll hear me use the word beautiful a lot, because when it comes to this whole poetry thing, for me that's the perfect way to describe it. It just, for me, it just encapsulates life itself, because of the variety, and because of how varied the poetry can be. So the silence, I think when I was writing it, the ideas I had in my mind was, when it comes to the silence, is the unwritten rules of society, the unbroken, sorry, no, unwritten rules of society that are programmed within us from a very young age, and we obey because we don't know any better. And those who came before us, our parents, our grandparents, they've all done the same. They have obeyed these unwritten rules of society. You could call it maybe societal constructs, but yeah, we all obey them in one way or the other. And that is one of the definitions of the poem itself. That is the silence that I am referring to. And for example, the perfect example I can give you is the first YouTube video that I released. And I personally, like, don't think it was such a crazy thing to do in a way. But some of the looks that I had of it and some of the responses I had, you would think I've killed someone. Honestly, you would think that I have killed someone. I have committed a crime that is worthy of the death penalty. That is some of the looks and some of the responses that I had. And this is one of the unwritten rules of society, where I have just literally sat down, I've made a video, I have expressed the deepest regrets, the deepest feelings of my life. And I was, not by everybody, I do want to make that clear. A lot of people were very supportive, but some of the responses I had, it was like, it was honestly, I felt like I had committed a crime. It felt like I had uh, committed murder. That is essentially how I felt. And I've got this look in my mind of someone who was looking at me that way. Maybe they weren't. Maybe my mind just assume that meaning from the look, but that is how I felt, and our feelings are completely valid. So yeah, but that is what I am referring to. Is the unwritten rules of society, and what these unwritten rules of society do is they cage us as human beings. They cage our expressions. They limit us. They limit our beliefs. They limit our expansion. They limit our growth, because I think it is a human trait to be accepted within a group, to be accepted within the peers around us. And this is something that I've been guilty of as well, and I am still guilty of. I think, especially in my younger days, going back to my teenage years, I did try, I was possibly trying to fit in with the people around me, but I also did not know any better. I did not know of any other path. I did not know that maybe I could just be myself, and then uh, that will help me to create my own world in a way, and just be around the people who I am aligned with, people who have similar values, similar outlooks on life. But yeah, we're not taught these things. We are not taught these things from a young age. With any young people in my life, I always try to encourage them to say, just be yourself. Like, forget all these external pressures, expectations that have been placed on you. Just be yourself, and life will work out. And as I am experiencing since I've started my journey, that life is beautiful. Honestly, I am in love with life at the moment. Even though I'm still in the same position, I'm still in a lot of debt. I don't feel like a burden anymore. I don't feel like a failure. But life is beautiful. I have no complaints. I am very grateful to God for putting me in this position and giving me these new perspectives of life. So yeah, the unwritten rules of society. I'm sure that you probably have some as well, and there is a lot. It's like, it's, for example, it's just that fear of stepping out the box and not being accepted. But I think we do sometimes need to have the courage just to walk alone and be brave enough to follow our own path. And then I feel like that will align us to the life that we are actually meant for, and that will align us uh, to express our qualities to the world. So that is one of the definitions of the silence, which is the unwritten rules of society. And the second definition, now this was not in my mind when I was writing the poem. This sort of came to me, I think, more when I had released the poem itself. And what that definition is the silence of suffering. And this again is something that I have experienced, and it came to fruition, you could say, when I made my first YouTube video and I decided to get all of my feelings out. I decided to express all of my vulnerabilities, and I just decided to express my fears of life itself. And there is a lot of people out there who are suffering in silence. Maybe they don't have anybody that they can speak to, or maybe they don't feel comfortable enough. Maybe whatever they are going through, they feel like people will not understand. And it's maybe a stigma of society, it's a stigma of the human condition, because what are we placing our values on? What are we what do we prioritize if we are not prioritizing the life of a human being, the value of a human being? And I think it's a symptom of the Western world. It's a symptom of, just, I would say, the world in general, because a lot of places, the third world is feeding the Western world. In a way, that is where all our products come from. So everything is always working in a very fast motion. Everything is always very fast paced, and it's what is the cost to the human life, to the human condition, of the environment, of the society that we've created. Now, I would say that, and I've possibly felt like this in my previous jobs when I have been working a full 9 to 5 job, where I felt that I am suffering, I am mentally not in the best place, but I've got no choice but to continue. I have no choice but to continue. And then now, since I have escaped the 9 to 5, well, I've not escaped it. I hope I've escaped it. I hope I never have to go back to that. But now that I'm not in that environment anymore, and uh, I am working a job which allows me to be more in control of my time. When I get them feelings, to when I am going through some type of mental suffering, then I can just take some time out. I can take some time out and say, you know what, I need this day to myself. I need a few hours to myself. I need to go on a walk to understand what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and why I'm feeling like this. Whereas if we are operating in the system, there is no way for us to do that because we have responsibilities. We have a lot of people have massive responsibilities. They've got mortgages, they've got kids, and society does not let us stop. The system does not let us stop. We must keep grinding. I've got a lot of poems about the system where I am highlighting this point, the fact that we do not have any room to breathe. We have to continue. Like there is no stop. You'll get 2 days on the weekend where you can relax a little, and then Monday comes, and then it doesn't matter how you're feeling. It doesn't matter what you're going through in life. It is time for you to get up and go again. And then that then links in to the silence of suffering. I think there's millions of people out there who are suffering in silence, and it's a terrible state for humanity to be in. Maybe it's necessary for our growth, but I think it's a terrible state for the individual to go through something, to feel like they have nobody in their life that they can trust enough to get them through whatever they're going through. Or sometimes they maybe just need an arm around the shoulder. Sometimes people just need a hug. Sometimes they just need an ear, somebody to listen to. So yeah, that is another definition of the silence. And I'm hoping if anybody is listening who is going through anything which you feel like you've got nobody to speak to about, then there is people in your life that love you. There is people in your life who care about you more than you think. And I hope that you can be courageous enough, brave enough just to speak to them. And I promise you, just getting out whatever you are feeling, if you can get it out, if you can if you can just understand your feelings, your thoughts, and just vent, it will help, because you are in a way you are releasing the energy. Now that's the ideas that I had. And there's another line that I want to discuss. I have no care for myself, a paternal trait that I carry. Now in a lot of my poems, I do refer to my father, and this is a trait of my father where he, in a way, he had no care for himself. He was always thinking about the people around him, to do what is best for them. And I do sometimes feel like that. I won't say that I feel like that all the time. Sometimes I can be selfish. Sometimes I do think about myself, and that's completely fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you have seen my previous videos, you will know, and I hope you do understand, that I do have a genuine care for humanity. I have a genuine care for you, whoever you are, wherever you're watching from. I have a genuine care for you. I want to see you happy. I hope to see you happy, and I hope to see humanity happy and prospering, because it allows us to fulfill our potential. I feel like, especially with myself, when there is no pressures, expectations placed on me, when I can just be myself, then I can express myself. I can offer the world my value, and how I offer the world value is through poetry. So, so yeah, I feel, yeah, I do have a genuine care for the people around me, but I also have a care for myself. But I do refer to this a lot. I do refer in a lot of my poems. I do refer to, for comparing some of my characteristics to my father as well, because I do believe that we do have some similarities. And furthermore, I'm just having a look at the poem, because I think that is all the discussion points that I had. So let me have a look. And then in the third verse, I've also got a line which is, well, the third verse, I'll read the verse to you. What do you want to let us know? Why disturb the peace? I want to connect with your soul. Tell me that you are okay. I'm breaking my silence for you. Now, since I have broken my silence, since I've made my first YouTube video and started my journey of releasing my content, releasing my poetry out into the world, there's been a lot of people that have got in touch with me to say they want to do this, they want to do that, they've got some ideas, they've shared something with me, and that is a product of me breaking my silence. It allows others to break their silence as well. So that is why, if you are going through something, whatever it is very, very important. It is critical that you are able to express yourself, because you may be the vehicle that another soul needs to to allow them to be themselves as well. So do bear that in mind. And the fifth verse, I do like this one as well. So I do this for you, stranger, friend, acquaintance. There is a voice within you too, screaming, raging, shouting. Please, can you let it speak? Now, here, I think what I am referring to is the constant thoughts that we have going on inside our head, the the suffering that we impose on ourselves, and the perspectives that we choose to take. Because whatever your perspective is in life, you can't always shift it, but a lot of the time we choose to attach ourselves to certain perspectives. And if you continue to attach yourself to a certain perspective for too long, then it can become a part of you, which can become very difficult to let go of. And this is something that I'm also learning to do as well. I feel like since I've started this journey, I feel like there's a version of me before I started this journey, and there's a version of me now. And I need to I prefer this version of me, because this version of me is comfortable enough with himself to express himself, to get his poetry out into the world. So I prefer this version of me. But that does not mean I do not have the thoughts that I used to have previously. The thoughts of feeling like a failure, the thoughts of feeling like a burden to the people around me. So them thoughts still do arise, but I just remind myself, no, we don't do that anymore. I'm on a new journey, and I'm a new person. I feel like a rejuvenated person in life. So yeah. So yeah, the voice, it's there's a different voice in my head, you could say. There is a different voice in my head which has different perspectives. But if you have a voice in your head which is screaming, raging, shouting, whatever it is, whatever it may be, please let it speak, and I promise you it will allow you to breathe. But yeah, so with the poem itself, I think that is everything that I wanted to discuss with the poem. Now you will notice my pace throughout this video has been a bit more fast paced, and it's because I feel like this is just my passion coming out for the things that I have discussed, for my care of people, and for my growth as an individual. This is just my passion coming through. But also, so I went on a morning walk today. I woke up today, I was feeling very happy, I was feeling very grateful, just happy and excited to start the day. And it's a beautiful day over here in the UK. Winter is September the 23rd. I'm not sure whether it's winter or autumn, but whichever one it is a beautiful sunny day. The sun is out, the sky is blue, and there's a slight warmth as well. It will get chilly later on, and it just feels like it's just a beautiful day, honestly. Like, what more can we ask for, other than when the sun is out, it lifts the mood. Honestly, it lifts my mood. And yeah, I woke up today very happy. Then I went on a walk, I was listening to music, and there's this song that I've been listening to for the last 4 or 5 days. And this is what I do when it comes to music. I will listen to the same song for 4 or 5 days, and a lot of the time when I'm listening to that song for that long, it will tinker with my mind, and then eventually that song will inspire some poetry. So I did write a poem. You know what I'll do, guys, for today? For today, yeah, because usually I share my poetry on on social media platforms. But for today, especially if you have made it this far, thank you very much for making it this far into the video. But yeah, I'm going to share this poem with you, and then we will call it a day there. So I've not got a name for the poem. Let's call it Fun and Games. Okay, so it's all fun and games for me until it's time to write poetry. I have no care for the world, I truly don't. These are my deepest expressions. My soul is speaking to you. What can the world offer me? Money, wealth, fame, adulation. I just want to write poetry. It's in the words that I speak, the actions that I take, in the life that I live. Why am I always laughing? Why do you always see me joking? I've got this responsibility to bear, to feel deeper than the ocean. I am a traveler of the seas in search of the endless treasures. It is feelings that I am addicted to, the emotions of being a human. That's why you always see me laughing, taking part in the fun and games. I'm just preparing myself for when it is time to take the plunge. risk my sanity one more time, put my life on the line so I can write some poetry one more time. Yeah, that's the poem that I wrote in the morning, hmm, and I'm going to end it there. So thank you very much for your time, your attention, and your energy, and for making it this far in the video. I genuinely appreciate it because I'm a small time creator. I've not got a lot of subscribers, and even though I'm not, that's not what my focus is. It can put a lot of people off from just viewing the content. So if you have made it this far, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. I hope that you're happy. I hope that life is going well for you, and I hope the people around you are happy, and I hope you have the best day of your life today. Take care. Thank you.